What's up, y'all? Alright. Hope y'all are doing good. Happy Sunday. Alright, let's get right into it. I want to talk to you guys. This is a video in response. It was requested. I want to say our fellow teammate's name is Michael Christopher, and he asked me to do a video on why no one believes you about the narcissist when they haven't gone through narcissistic abuse. I'm going to start off by saying that is the first answer to your question. Because they haven't gone through it, it's very hard for a lot of people to grasp what actually is going on, right? Not only that, but I made a list of things, okay? Because it's way more complicated and sinister than you would ever really believe it to possibly be. Why and what do I mean? Well, there's a lot of people, it's not just the narcissist, right? And what they did that makes people so-called come off as not believing you. If anything, everybody, for the most part, actually does believe you, but they don't admit that to you for several reasons. I wrote down a lot of notes because I thought about this for a couple of days now, because it's such a juicy question and I have such a juicy answer for that. So here's my notes, but without reading all in between, I comprised this into two categories with something in the middle. Now, on one side of that category, I have your haters, right? The other side of that category, I have those who knew about it and were in on it the whole time. And the line down the middle, I wrote across that line, those who are scared. Now, let's tackle the haters. Now, you might say, well, why would I have haters? I don't really have a lot of money. I don't own a lot of things, or I don't particularly dress a certain way that somebody would want to hate me, right? That's not it. When your spirit vibes high, right, that comes off of you, that you exude that wherever you go. And people in a lower vibration, they hate that shit. Hence the reason what the devil kept trying to tempt Jesus. Jesus of all people, why would the devil want to tempt him? Well, because he wasn't hurting anybody. He was helping a lot of people, and he understood something that a lot of people didn't, right? And he knew that if he could take Jesus down, and honestly, if he could make Jesus take himself down, then it would eliminate everybody around him gaining the knowledge that they needed for salvation, right? Which he didn't win, obviously. But that being said, let's go back to your haters. People hate you that you don't even know hate you. First of all, that neighbor that you always say hi to, it could be somebody at the grocery store that is used to you frequenting it. I'm giving you key points to, from my life. People, that you pass by outside all the time in your neighborhood. A lot of people, right, might already just dislike you for, number one, maybe you keep to yourself. Maybe you look interesting. Maybe you're creative. Maybe they don't have that. Maybe they're waiting. They were looking for something the whole time to give them a reason to look down on you anyway. So when the narcissist came along with the bullshit and the smear campaign, all those people that were trying to find a reason to hate you, they just grabbed onto that and rode the wave, okay? On the other side, you have those who knew about it the whole time and were in on it. That's when you have the narcissist's entire family. That family already knew that Narc was like that. The minute that narcissist met you and told their family about you, every one of those family members, their siblings, their moms, their dads, their friends, right, which are all equally narcs too, usually their friends are gross as well, right, they all got that family size thing of popcorn, because they knew that they were going to have a hell of a show that they were about to watch, and they all placed their bets to see how long this one's going to last. Okay, so that being said, let's go to the people in the middle that are scared. The people in the middle that are scared are the people who do believe you, but the things that you're telling them are so disturbing that they rather dismiss it in its entirety than to even remotely communicate with you, listen to it, deal with you, because then they'd have to admit that there are actually gross, demonic, sinister people like that in the world, which I don't know why that would scare them, because, I mean, we have the news, and the news, which I no longer watch, always has insanely demonic, sinister things on it that people are doing. So those are just the punk ass bitches that just don't want to hear it because they don't want to admit it. Anyway, so why don't people believe you, or why does it seem like that? First of all, one thing the narcissist does is they already have, since the day they met you, a very calculated timeline of events that they are going to put upon you to break you down in a timely fashion, so that by the time you figure it out to even be able to say something, they're already gone. And not to mention, they're not just already gone, but they have already initiated the smear campaign in a timely, calculated fashion since they met you. So say, for instance, you were with the narc for 5 years, okay? It could be months, but say 5 years, for an example. Year number 1, month number 2 of year 1, they were already telling their shitty friends and family that you were crazy, or that something was kind of off about you, but that they were going to stay with you because they wanted to try, and something's wrong with you here, something's wrong with you there. So they already start sprinkling bad seeds of lies against you before you even knew that you had a problem with them in that relationship. Before the problem even occurs, they create a fake problem, because they know from the moment they meet you, there's a limited amount of time before you're going to wake the fuck up, right? And they know they're going to trash you in the end. They know that. That's a solid fact. So they have to start smearing your name immediately. Okay, so by the time you get to anybody in this category, whether it's the people that are scared in the middle, whether it's the haters on the side, the neighbors, whether it's the people that already have been in on it that you didn't even know were in on it, like all of their friends and family, and unfortunately sometimes maybe some of your so-called friends and family, before you even get to them, they've already heard for a long time how crazy and fucked up and disgusting and cheaty and gross you are, even though you're not. But every time they do something gross to you, they go out and tell people that you were doing that. So when you get to them, you look crazy, right? You were set up to look crazy. And what's worse, and let me check my notes. Oh yeah, I wrote that when the narc leaves the house to go play in the streets, they take their mask off, right? And your whole neighborhood sees them acting a damn fool. And they assume, because they always see the narc with you, that you must be a damn fool too. Who likes that kind of shit and condones it, when really meantime back at the ranch, you don't even know this shit's happening outside, because usually you're waiting for them to come back home or something. You didn't even know they were acting like that. Case in point, I remember hearing through the grapevine from the security guard that my ex-narc rode through my lobby of my apartment building, drinking a beer while riding a skateboard in the lobby, right? Like, who the fuck is in here acting like a goddamn... I mean, what? Right? And so then when I come out walking with them, they're looking at both of us like, ugh, there's that shitty, don't have no manners ass couple. But I didn't even know he did that until way later, when someone said, oh yeah, like that time he rode through the lobby on the skateboard drinking a beer. I said, well, when did he do that? Then there was another time where all the old ladies were down in the lobby, and they were from the Tenants Association. The Tenants Association. I didn't know that he went up to one of them and loudly in front of all of the Tenants Association, in regards to me, said, man, you gotta get your girl. She's real wild. She's wilding out. She's all fucked up. You need to get her. They never told me that. Of course, people like to tell you bullshit later, but they didn't tell me that. So then when you go to people and you try to tell them, hey man, this is happening to me, this is crazy, this person's stalking me. Like in my case, he was stalking me, he was hacking all my bank accounts. Need I repeat to you guys, he killed my pet rat and put it in the freezer the day of the discard so that I would find it after he had already slinked away with his backpack. Can you imagine? And then when I got, hey, here's the police now because we're in the city, probably chasing another piece of shit, right? Then when I got the restraining order, right? The same detective that was on the case for me met the narc in custody and called me back and said, you know, I really don't believe he did it. Like, what? How did he finesse the detective whose whole job is to do that shit? That man needs to be fucking fired because he obviously doesn't know how to do that shit. Right? So it looked crazy when I'm like, look, he's got a hacker. The hacker's hacking through my computer. The hacker's hacking through my son's school computer. The hacker's hacking through my bank accounts, and my bank accounts are getting shut down. This is happening. He's living across the street against the restraining order with 2 women, and he's hanging out on the rooftop staring through my window because it's right across the street. Right? Plus the dead rat in the freezer. And plus he's really having sex with his best friend who's a dude, so he's gay. And they're riding around town doing A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And he's doing a lot of witchcraft with this weird ass fat old white lady that has purple hair and a gold grill. Did you hear how all that just sounded? You know what's fucked up about that? Every single thing I just said is true. If you hadn't gone through something like this, right? Would you believe someone telling you something like this? When you've already heard for years that the same person telling you something like this is crazy, right? That's why, unfortunately, baby, people don't believe you. People believe you, but they don't want to believe you. And then some people believe you, but they don't want to admit they were a part of it. And one thing that I hope makes you smile about this is later on, all those people that were your haters, oh, they saw that narc on the street doing some wild shit. At least that happened with my ex-narc. Everybody that didn't want to believe me saw him personally on the street doing some wild ass shit. Or they themselves got fucked over by that narcissist. And then they believed me then. But you know what? Not only was it too late for them, but they were too embarrassed to come back and admit it to me. They would never admit it to me. Alright? So I hope this helps in some small way. But you're not crazy, baby. People believe you. They're just either in on it or too much of a pussy ass bitch to even acknowledge it. Alright? Much love to you guys and happy Sunday. Stay safe.